It's a good morning to you all. Welcome to our second line. My name is Zenzele and this is the Breakfast Club. I hope you had a very good weekend, and there was the ZANU-PF conference in Escotini, and we all heard about the resolutions. The good thing about these conferences is that for the last 36 years, nothing changes. You always hear the same things over and over again, and of course we know that after 5 years, nothing will be implemented, and next year they will meet again and talk about the same things. Anyway, that's the story of Zimbabwe that we've had over the last 36 years. And like I always say, our future is going to be decided by none other than ourselves. So I hope you are going to brace yourself for a very interesting Christmas without fuel, without meat, without a drink. Because Christmas rice le coke is not really a Christmas, but this year is going to be one of those. The other day I gave a lift to a police officer, and she was really, talking about how she was now making a choice between buying a 2 kg of rice, which is $8, or uteng amalofu ayi-2 esinkwa bese lipheka the soup, because 2 loaves will be $3. Then they tell matamatis 50 cents and they will have supper. And I found that really traumatizing, because people are respected as police officers. They can't have a decent meal. And she told me how she walked around this Zapalala with a basket or trying to shop, and she discovered that her salary, after paying rent, she can't buy nothing. And this is the thing that leads to corruption, because if that person is now dealing with a case of a high-profile someone and they are offered money, definitely they're not going to refuse, because they're broke. And I hope that this coming year, this government is going to do something about paying decent salaries to people who are giving service to this nation. Like I said, it's a good morning to you for those who are having a good morning, but for most of you, it's a miserable morning, because you're queuing for fuel, you're looking for food, you're looking for money, you're thinking about Christmas, and Abantwana, they don't know that you're broke, they still want those new clothes, and it's really stressful for some of us and for many of us, and we only pray that God will intervene, and people will have a wonderful Christmas. Anyway, today in our program, we are talking to a former activist. I'm not sure whether people live activism. We'll be talking about that. But she describes herself as a former activist, now a business person. And I'm talking about Vimbai Musvaburi. She's known. I mean, she's been around. And you remember her image when I was TV, BBC, Kipumpiki Chakamukabe, But by the way, I mean, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So what happened to that picture to start with?
Okay, you just had to start with something controversial, but okay. So into yenzekalayo that day is that we were having normal interviews during the impeachment and waiting for Mugabe to step down. So people were anxious. We had been waiting for like 6 days. I was actually in Harare those days. So into yenzekalayo after the interview that we were having as a group of girls. So I'd actually met most of those girls for the first time that day. After the interview, as we went down the lift, the announcement was made. So if you have been to Mikkels Hotel, you come down from the lift and you're facing the reception. So one of the ladies said, but everybody was celebrating, people were screaming, a lot of things were going on. Kwatwa kanmanje loge. This man has stepped down. So in that celebration, in that euphoria, there was a group of us. We all went there and said, but Kipanini, it was a dialogue first before that whole clip that went. And if you notice, I was carrying a phone. So I'm always recording things if I'm not the one speaking. So as I'm recording, then I realized that this is actually getting a bit ugly. And I then noticed that there was actually somebody who was recording me while I was recording. And at this particular time, the girls had already gone inside, but keep a portrait Leana. There's somebody recording us. So my idea of grabbing the portrait was because I realized that snap, this thing is being recorded and we cannot be seen like this. So I grabbed it and I ran as fast as I could. So when people saw me running, they actually thought, "What, I'm running away with the portrait." As we got outside, there was a group of Tajamuka, if it's not Tajamuka, I'm not sure which one it is, like activists as well, who were outside the hotel, who then wanted to grab the portrait away from me. And and at that particular moment, I want to be honest, I felt as though uzathatha njani wena because they had already started saying break it, smash it, and you know how it is at school. It felt like being in secondary school again or primary school again, where like there's a mob of children convincing each other to do something they didn't even think of. And that's when, at that particular moment, I took it and I smashed it.
Well, that was the activist part. You are now describing yourself as a business person. Now, but tell us about the transition.
I think my transition started from the time I started running politically, and I wanted to be an MP. Then you start seeing things a bit more different. You start realizing that, yes, you can be an activist and speak, and sometimes activism can have extremes because you're trying to express yourself in a mad way just so that people understand what you're trying to communicate. And then I realized that there is the reality to politics, that is the people of Zimbabwe. The people in the grassroots, the people at home, the people who don't have time or money to be on social media. Then I started realizing that I wanted to connect with those people and get to know exactly how they feel, exactly how they wanted to do things. And my transition started there because I now wanted to represent the people. So yeah, so the transition came from then. I did my campaign right through to the end, and of course I didn't win. But during my campaign, I realized that there was a gap because I did a door-to-door campaign. And in this campaign, every time I went into a home, I must say that I visited over 3,000 homes on foot. And when I got in there, they would have many questions. What are these MPs going to do about it? Afterwards. You guys are just going to disappear. So I then realized that there seems to be no communication platform that is available post elections and post the members of assembly being the representatives for the people. So that's when I started writing and putting this project together called the Parliamentarian. So win or lose, I was still going to get into this project where it's both the Parliamentarian and the Council, where we want to communicate with them. But how do we do it? The parliamentarians are in Harare 3-4 days a week. They are busy with committees. They are busy trying to, put legislations around. So this is where it came along.
Yeah, so like you've just shared with us the experience of running as a candidate, and looking back, I mean, what would you say? What are some of the things that you learned as a candidate? I mean, especially running in Zimbabwe, where it's highly polarized.
I'll tell you one thing for free. I'll never be an independent candidate again, and not in the time that I want to be a leader in Zimbabwe, because there is no way that we can convince ourselves that our political standing as Zimbabwe, generally as Africa, we have not moved from voting for a party to voting for an individual. So individuals will never win on their own. I don't know how Themba Mliswa has done it, but I wouldn't follow that road again. That is the first lesson ever.
So after the elections, you then set up a company, Vimbai Media. I mean, tell us about this company.
Vimbai Media was initially started running when I was still in South Africa, because that's when I got into the media industry. But it was a bit extreme then, because I managed musicians like AKA, Zonke, Berita, Trezor. That's when Vimbai Media fused in. I started as, I was employed by another company called Fifth Season then. Then later on, I started taking my own musicians into Vimbai Media. and also writing films and documentaries. By the time I then got politically involved, I'd already started taking my content to Mzansi Magic, Zambezi Magic, and it was now time to come home, so that had to stop. So after the elections, I then realized that maybe in our economy, getting to a point where I continue from music, film, documentaries, I was not in a good financial standing. And that is why in Zimbabwe you find that a lot of people who are creative find themselves writing books, because that is the only art that you can actually use without infusing too much financial budgets or having a good financial standing. So I then realized that let me take Vimbai Media as it is, because it's already a home of PR, film, and but right now what I need is for it to be a home of print. And that's when I infused the parliamentarian and the council idea into the Vimbai Media House.
You can buy it and pay $3.50. So $16, $40. What is happening? We don't understand.
$35. Atezi $79.
Welcome to Community Conversations with me, Ishmael Mpello. Thank you so much.
Basically, what you are saying is because at least he was better. He could control the prices.
So you recently launched the magazine, the Parliamentarian. Was it because of your experience running as an MP, or is something that you have already been thinking about?
I honestly got the idea while I was campaigning, because of the fact that I realized people needed information. They needed educational information post the elections. So already I started putting the book together. And I realized that there's 350 House of Assembly members. So meaning that this has got to be an ongoing issue that's got to be distributed to the people. However, we are running as a business right now, though this thing has got to be done in a way that it's communication that's got to go to the people. So as a business, it means that we'll be expecting people to buy. We are trying by all means to distribute this information to the people of Zimbabwe for free. We don't want a point where we come to, people that have got to pay to get this kind of information from us. So yeah, that's the Parliamentarian magazine.
So the Parliamentarian magazine, what does it focus on?
It basically focuses on profiling the MP. So sometimes when you talk about profiling, you think that it's only the good things that they've got to speak about. They give us their good feedback, as in profiles, but when we then write the article, we would have gone to speak to the people in the area, in their constituency, to find out the issues they really need attacking. Then we go back again to the MP and say, but your constituents said they want you to do A, B, C, D, E. What are you doing about it? So our profiling just doesn't come as, here is your MP, as Banbani, who's got a degree or a master's in this and that, or has gone to school and done this. No, we are bringing in what they said they were going to do for you, what they have done currently, and what they have implemented for the future actions they're going to take to better people's lives.
How has been the reception, especially from the politicians themselves? Because most of the times they just want us when we talk good about them.
Amazingly so, the MPs are actually very accommodating. Because remember, they've never been given a platform to actually amplify them individually. They've always come in a jacket. So they're like, oh wow, yeah, it puts them at a point where they really feel that they want to to show the people of Zimbabwe that they're actually working. So we've got a group of those. However, we also have our parliamentarians from our governing party, ZANU-PF, who obviously have protocol, who obviously are expected to do things in a certain way. They didn't say no to it. They said, hold on, Vimbai, I'll get into the third issue or I'll get into the fourth issue, because generally they want to see how you are using their information. They want to see whether it will affect them in their party, and which is totally understandable, meaning that we now had to take steps to make them feel comfortable, like going to speak to the Permanent Secretary of Information, and also making sure that we go and actually see the Speaker for Parliament.
So you are highlighting in a way something that is very important, that you have MPs that are not free to speak their mind because they need to consult the party. And these are the guys who are supposed to be independently representing people. So what does it say, about if you're looking at the issues of, service delivery? We are voting for people, but basically we are voting for parties.
Well, I think Zimbabwe needs to know that they definitely voted for parties, and I don't think they will say no to that. They know that. They voted for parties. And because they voted for parties, unfortunately, it is something we've got to face. The MPs have got to report and be given a go-ahead by their parties. So let us start there, where we are saying, asingeke sifike endaweni esiqalisa ukusola khona ama-MP ukuthi kanti manje nxa uzabuza iphathi yakho wena uzasebenzela njani, thina ekuqaleni yithi esabafakayo ngamaphathi. So nxa kulokutshintsha izinto kufanele siqalise ukutshintsha ngokubafundisa, ngokuzifundisa thina abantu beZimbabwe ukuthi actually in the next elections learn to vote for individuals who can deliver. Because definitely I can tell you that the speakers, the members of parliament some of them know how to voice up in parliament, but because of consequences that they know they will face post voicing up in parliament, certain issues they can't even discuss openly.
Yeah, so, this is quite an interesting project in many ways, but take us through your production. You talk to individuals, you put together this thing. How frequent does it come out?
We are aiming to release a publication every month because we want to cover each and every MP as much as possible. But remember, us profiling the MPs in the magazine, we've got issues that arise, that we're facing as Zimbabweans. I'll tell you another article that we have in the magazine. Right now it's Christmas. We've got a list of Christmas presents we want from our daily Santa. And who's our daily Santa? Emerson Mnangagwa. Number 1, review of the budget. Number 2, we want our clean water. Number 3, we want him to monitor the distribution of land in our councils. Number 4, we want him to make sure that one day we wake up to good roads. We are telling him as well that, look, we've got children. Yes, we may boast about our education system being nice, but do you realize that in these schools we've got children who are sitting in classrooms 60? I'll tell you something. Beginning of this year, I put my child in a government school. And when I put him in a government school, I got the shock of my life, and he got the shock of his life because he had never been in a government school. But I put him there, and in his class, there's over 55 students in one class with one teacher. So our Santa needs to know that these are the issues that are affecting our children directly. He needs to understand that we actually are not joking about wanting hospitals that he can go to. So there are issues that we address. So unlike just a way of just saying, of attacking, we're finding a way of communicating and having a dialogue with him so that if he reads that, he doesn't feel offended. Because remember, feeling offended, thinking Vimbai will break my portrait, can actually make him feel offended. It's normal, it's psychological, that, okay, she's offending me. So if she's offending me, how am I expected to communicate with her? So you realize that as we write in a way of engaging them. When he reads, he should be able to say, oh, actually, they mean well. Let me return back and respond.
Yeah, I mean, you have packaged this magazine. Obviously, the aim is to reach to the people. You know, how easy is it for you to then distribute these copies, whether physical or electronic, to the 13.6 million people who live in Zimbabwe?
Okay, we live in a 4IR generation, which is the fourth industrial revolution, hopefully 5 soon. We have got technology. However, during my campaign, I learned that the technological generation is very minimal. We are distributing PDFs online, on WhatsApp even. So our first month is basically going to be free to anyone who wants it. That is the first way of distribution. We're going to have a website, it's not up now. We're going to have a website where people can download this PDF. We are also actually going to meet. We've got a whole group of people. Remember, when we were sitting after the elections, getting announcements for who won and what is going on, us in the urban areas, we had forgotten the number of people in the rural areas who actually can easily make a decision for us here as Zimbabweans and as a whole. So that is a group of people that we need to reach to. So hence our trip to Parliament to speak to the Speaker and actually explain that from these MPs that we're going to profile, we actually need to work with the House of Assembly. We need them to know that when a publication is out, MPs should have access to this book so much that they take to their constituents.
You're talking about the distribution to the rural areas. You know, is Parliament or the Speaker of Parliament willing to then say, we're going to help you produce copies or we're going to help you distribute these copies?
Unfortunately, I can't quite answer that question because we haven't met her yet. Or we haven't met them yet. We haven't even met the ministry properly and officially. So I can't quite report back and say they are willing or they are not willing, but we are appealing to them to at least hear us out and understand the fact that we are not here to fight, but we're here to distribute educational information to the people of Zimbabwe.
A huge program like this or a project like this obviously is a financial burden. I mean, how is the sustainability of this project? How are you sustaining it?
I want to lie. You know, one thing about us Zimbabweans is that we have lived in a situation where we have to survive. There is a lot of times we're working in a team of 6, and in this team of 6 you realize that you gotta pay them, but we don't have an account with money. And Zimbabwe has just literally taught us to survive day to day. And even as you interview these people to come and help you put the magazine together, you realize that even if you're paying them the salary, you actually feel very terrible because our economy has even downsized our salary packages, where you feel so somebody is actually going to spend 9 hours of their day here working just so that they get money that is not adequate enough to actually just bring them to work and back. So there's a lot of things that actually break my heart more than me thinking I don't have money to put the project together. We have been working on this project for 3 months, and in the 3 months I must say that it's been tough, it's been horrible, it hasn't been easy at all, but yeah, we have pulled through.
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
How does the future look like?
It's bright. So every time I meet with my team, I say, don't worry, team. You might not be getting what you want now, but this project is big. And if it's big, I mean, besides money, we are carrying information that every Zimbabwean needs. And this information, we've got to take it out to each and every Zimbabwean. I think that is the most fulfilling part of our job. So trust me, anybody who carries information, you've got to see a bright future. If you don't see a bright future, then you got to go home and sleep.
So 10 years from now, you'll still be there with the parliamentarian?
We are not going anywhere. The parliamentarian should remain, because parliament will never end. The parliamentarian should remain for years to come. My death doesn't mean the parliamentarian is dead. So, can I come back to the business side of things? I may be running it under a business entity, but this project can never be a business. This project has got to be free for all for Zimbabwe. So ideally, I think our meeting with the Ministry of Information should actually take us to the Ministry of Education, because it's too big for Vimbai to carry it with her team. It is a project that the whole country actually needs to be involved in. The Minister of Education actually needs to meet with us. At this point, I'm going to say he needs to meet with us because we're carrying the baby. Yeah.
So Vimbai, the Vimbai that we know is energetic. She does videos. She's an activist. Then we are now meeting a Vimbai who is a business person, wears suits, sits in boardrooms and discuss all these things. How has been the transition?
I'll talk about the dressing up first. I'm not in a suit right now. Generally, I like to feel free. It starts with my dressing. I think I was going to struggle in Parliament because I had to be formal all the time. I think the business is in the mind. The business is in how you handle the people you work with in business. The business is how you pursue the idea to fruition. The transition, somehow, my dressing has to also be a part of it. But I think it is the state of the mind where you realize that being an activist, yes, worked to a certain point, but you want to be completely relevant. If you're a leader and you're going to be a leader, you want to be relevant to a point that you are able to communicate with both extremes. So if I'm an activist and I'm saying I've got information that I need to take out to Zimbabweans, remember, I'm not going to care whether you are ZANU-PF or you are MDC. I need to be able to relate to you as a Zimbabwean. So one day, if I've got ambitions to be the president of Zimbabwe, the first female president of Zimbabwe, I'm sure somebody's gonna laugh. But yeah, if I've got those kind of ambitions, I need to be able to relate to each and every Zimbabwean. party-wise, non-party-wise, cultural backgrounds, tribe, and a lot of religious stuff. In our magazine, we've got an article that is titled "The House of God versus the House of Assembly." We directed that article because during the campaign, MDC ran with "God is in it." But we thought to ourselves, do you know how many Indians are in Zimbabwe who actually believe that there's Allah, who believe that there is more, they believe in Muhammad? There's so many religions in Zimbabwe that you mean to tell me that when you're saying God is in it, are you meaning that you are incorporating the Allahs and the Muhammad? Does it mean that in the party, if I come and say I'm Muslim, am I able also to say God is in it? Are you teaching us enough for us to understand that God can be Allah, can be Muhammad? And also, it also discusses the laws that are made in the House of Assembly versus the laws that are made in the House of God. And also the fact that the leaders in the church are also wanting to be the leaders in the House of Assembly. So how are you separating this leadership when in the House of God laws are already made, by the way, and in the House of Assembly you only wait to get to heaven for you to be judged? But here in the House of Assembly, if you're an MP and you're not delivering, and maybe you've gone against the law, you know that you can be called. The people of Zimbabwe can recall you, and you can lose that position. But in the House of God, maybe if he's done something wrong, he can be forgiven, and then God will meet him later. So all these other things that we speak about make us realize that as Zimbabweans, there is more to what we can just see on our face.
So finally, for those who want the copies of the parliamentarian, where do they find it, and how do they contact you?
Currently, we're saying because we have got an PDF we're distributing right now. We are asking people to WhatsApp on 0775 383 550, 0775 383 550, and we will respond with a PDF. We are encouraging each and every person when they receive a PDF to share it around. That way, it will start the communication line to go. And it means that going forward, we're not going to be one of those people who will just throw into people who don't want it. Because these things, you got to subscribe. We also live in a world of choices. If you don't want to read such information, no one will force you. So us having their number doesn't mean that we think that generally every month they want this kind of information. So they'll be free to subscribe. And then when they subscribe to us, we continue communicating with them.
Thank you very much, Vimbai. That was Vimbai Musvaburi. This is the business lady and the CEO of Vimbai Media, who are the publishers of the magazine, The Parliamentarian, which basically profiles and
The cyberspace is home to innovation is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Bulawayo. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.